Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Daryl Wilson. Today in this video, I'll be showing you all how to use YouTube ads step by step. Now, YouTube ads is a great way on how to build your brand and also promote your business. YouTube ads are also a great way on how to promote your own YouTube channel in case you want to become an influencer here on YouTube. I have personally spent around $200,000 on YouTube ads, and I've used that money to build up other YouTube channels. Now, I know that sounds like a lot of money, right? 200K, but this was actually spent over the course of maybe 3 to 4 years. And as of right now, we are now seeing a return on our investment from YouTube ads. So in this video, I'll teach you guys what are the best ads to run for your YouTube channel. I'll also talk about ads that you might not want to use because it did give us a poor ROI. So I'll talk all about that in this video. I'll also show you guys our revenue and how we're making money from those other YouTube channels. Now we're gonna break this video up into 3 sections. In step 1, I'll show you how to create your own Google Ads accounts. I'll then introduce you all to some of the general settings within your Google Ads accounts. In step 2, I'll show you how to create YouTube ads. I'll first show you guys how to create in-feed ads and then also show you how to create display ads. I'll explain the purpose and difference of each ad and show you which one I believe is more effective. In section 3, I'll teach you how to read the analytics, and I'll also give you third-party websites that can help you create videos for your own personal YouTube ads. And make sure to stay till the end because I'll explain how we use $200,000 to start generating money from other YouTube channels. YouTube ads are actually probably one of the easiest ads to learn how to use, right? After making about 2 or 3 ads, you guys will definitely get the hang of it. It's pretty simple. So let's get started. All right, so let's go to section 1. Now, the first thing that you guys will have to do is create a Google Ads account. Now, there's a link in the description of this video. It'll take you to this page where you guys can create your own Google Ads account. Now, once you guys are here, you'll go ahead and click on Start Now. All right, so next you guys will go ahead and sign in with your Gmail account. Now, if you guys do not have a Gmail account, you can click on Create Account right here and create a new Gmail account. But this is required in order to use Google Ads, so you must have a Gmail account. So if you guys have one, you guys can go ahead and log in right here, or you guys can create a new account. So I'm gonna go ahead now and log in with my account. All right, and then I'll click on Next, and then I'll enter my password. All right, cool. So once you guys log in, it might ask you guys like a few questions. It'll then bring you back to your Google Ads dashboard. And this is where you guys can create YouTube ads and also view your YouTube analytics. Now, before we create YouTube ads, I first want to introduce you all to some of the general settings. Over here, we have tools and settings. We'll go ahead and click on settings. Now, this is where you guys can update your payment information and also update your payment profile. This may be required if you guys if they do change their policy and make it so that you need to update this before you run ads. YouTube tends to change their policy quite often, but you'll go ahead and fill out your information right here under the payments profile. Once you guys do that, we'll then go over here to the tools and settings one more time, and we'll click on summary. Now, before you guys run YouTube ads, you guys must have a credit card on file in order to run the ads. So you'll go ahead and first insert your credit card, or I believe they also take PayPal, I believe. Let's see right here, manage payments. I think they do take PayPal as of right now. Let's see, add a payment method. Yeah, they have PayPal and also bank account. So you guys can go ahead and pay with credit card, add your PayPal account, or even add your bank account. And this is required in order to run YouTube ads. So go ahead and click on cancel. And then we'll go back to our basic dashboard by clicking on this arrow, and this will bring us back to our current dashboard. Now, this is obviously a demo account, so I'm now going to log in with my real YouTube ads account. All right, so this is my personal Google Ads account. We can see how much I have spent. We have our view rates and also how many views we have gotten from YouTube ads. So almost around 9 million views. Now, this is probably the worst place to view your analytics, I'll be very honest. Let's go over here to campaigns and click on campaigns. Now, right here, this is a list of all the campaigns I have ever ran on YouTube ads. We can see that I have around 9 million clicks, and this cost me around $206,000. We can also view the impressions. So I believe that's 306 million impressions. And if we scroll down, you will see the campaign, you will see the views, and also how much it cost. Now I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. So these ads are not running right here. This one is, so the ones with green dots are running. I'm gonna go ahead and add a filter. So over here, I'll go ahead and only show the campaigns that are currently running. So these ones right now are currently running. I'm spending around $105 a day. And if we scroll over here, we'll see some analytics, right? So this is like the cost. So for this specific ad, I spent around $6,000. We can see our earned subscribers. So we have around, this ad right here got us around 556 subscribers. Go ahead and scroll over here. You can see all of our analytics. Here is earned likes, earned shares. We have earned views. Earned views are pretty much people who have clicked on other videos from your ads, and you do not get charged for that whatsoever. So if you have a really good ad, people might explore your channel, and those are free views that you get. You don't have to pay anything for those views. And then we have our engagement and just some other general analytics. Now you can see at the bottom right here, we have earned quite a bit of subscribers. So we've earned around 23,000 subscribers from just a few YouTube ads. So let's go over here and we're gonna now create our first ad. All right, so to create your first YouTube ad, you're gonna go ahead and go to this plus section and you'll click on new campaign. All right, cool. Next, we'll go ahead and select a campaign objective. Now, in my personal experience, all of these campaign objectives is Google pretty much trying to make you spend your money at very unnecessary places. Let's go ahead and click on create a campaign without a goals guidance. And now we have the campaign type. So we have search, performance max, display, shopping, but the one that we're gonna use is video. So go ahead and click on video. So let's go ahead and select the custom video campaign. This actually gives us the most options. We can create in-stream ads, bumper ads, or even in-feed video ads from the custom video campaign. So go ahead and click on continue. All right, next you'll go ahead and enter in your campaign name. So this is like the name of your campaign. Now for this specific tutorial, I'm going to promote my e-commerce tutorial that I created on YouTube. So I'm gonna promote a YouTube video for this tutorial. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in e-commerce tutorial. Next, we have bid strategy. So if it doesn't open, you can click on this little check and this will open it up. And we have two different options. We have cost per view and we have CPM. Cost per view is pretty much paying per view. CPM is paying for every 1,000 impressions. This is only ideal for unskippable ads. So for example, there are some ads where you cannot skip, and that's where target CPM comes in. But for most of us, we're probably gonna use CPV, which is cost per view. Next, we have budgets and dates. Now here we have campaign total, and then we also have daily. I personally like daily. I like to know how much money I'm spending per day. The other one right here, campaign total, it tries to spread your budgets over a specific amount of days. But personally, some days the ads don't even run, and other days the ads run a lot. So I actually like the daily more because it just gives me a little bit more control. So I'm gonna put $10 a day. And you guys can put a start date and end date as well. So here under the edits, you can put a start date and an end date. If you guys don't put an end date, it's just gonna keep running and then you'll have to change it. So if you want, we can select an end date saying, you know what, I'm just gonna run it for about 2 weeks or something like that. I'll go ahead and close this. Next, we have the networks. So I'm going to click on the little arrow here and it's gonna open up networks. Now, very unfortunate, but YouTube actually used to have the option to uncheck either one of these boxes. However, now YouTube is pretty much saying you must use both. I used to only recommend YouTube search results and not YouTube videos because YouTube search results are actually the most accurate. But let me go ahead and first uncheck this and explain what these are. So the YouTube search results, this is pretty much when people are actively searching for something on YouTube and they come across an ad. Let me give you an example. So I'm on YouTube and I'm gonna go ahead and type in how to dropship. So after I typed in how to do drop shipping, we then see this ad for drop shipping. This ad says drop shipping for beginners, start learning today. In my personal opinion, I find that the ads in these search results are the most effective. The main reason why is because this user who typed in how to do drop shipping is already interested in drop shipping. So we're actually advertising to people who are actively searching for something like how to do drop shipping. I like these ads because they're focused and it's actually targeting people who are interested in what we have to offer. So this is an example of the ad in the search results. Next, we have the YouTube videos. So ads can appear on YouTube videos, channel pages, and the YouTube homepage. Let me give you guys an example of that one. All right, so here's the YouTube homepage, and this is an example of one of the ads. So sometimes the ads may show up on the actual YouTube homepage. The other ads may display on the actual videos that people are watching. It's hard to give you guys an example because sometimes they display and sometimes they don't, but let me just go ahead and click on a video here and just give you an example of where they might display. All right, so here's the actual video right here. Now, sometimes the ad will display on the right side. You can see that there's this little ad right here. Also, the ad will appear on the actual video itself. So sometimes when the users are actually watching the videos, the ads will create a pop-up right here that the users will have to close. So here's an example of the display ads. Sometimes when the user is watching a video, the ad will display right here and the user has to close the ad in order to watch the video. Also on the right side, we can see that there is another display ad. These are actually pretty effective, and I do have some good results with the ones on the right side. But overall, the ones on the screen, I have poor results because a lot of people just close it because they're not interested and they just want to watch the video. The last option for video partners on the display network, this pretty much puts your ad on random websites, and I wouldn't recommend it whatsoever. People who are signed up with the Google AdSense account, that's usually where the ads display. I would not recommend it because you don't know where those ads are being displayed. All right, let's go ahead and scroll down. Now we have locations. So you'll go ahead and pick a location on where you want to advertise. Now every country has different CPV rates. So some states are cheaper, some states are more expensive, some countries are more expensive, and some countries are cheaper. I'll go ahead and leave this at United States. Now you guys can actually set specific regions in specific areas, and you can also exclude areas. Let me give you guys a few instances on where this might actually apply to you. For example, right here, I'll click on enter another location. Now, let's say, for example, you guys are in Las Vegas, right? You're a brick and mortar store with a physical location. You might want to, target a specific region, right? So I'm going to type in Las Vegas, and here we have a few options, right? Las Vegas, Nevada. So we're going to go ahead and select Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, Las Vegas, Nevada and Reno, Nevada are pretty close to each other, right? So if you don't actually exclude Reno, sometimes your ad may appear in Reno, right? Because remember, this is Google with the machine and they're just, they're guesstimating. So if you are a physical location, you might want to exclude the areas around your specific area just so that your ads don't show up in unnecessary areas. So we're gonna go ahead and select Reno. There's a Reno, right? And instead of targeting, we're going to exclude, right? So I'm going to exclude that one. And we're also going to exclude California, right? So I'm also going to exclude California. The main reason why is because California and Las Vegas are very close to each other. And again, I just don't want my ads showing up in California. So this is an example of how to target specific regions and also reasons on why to exclude them. Me personally, I always exclude regions that are very close to whatever I'm targeting, right? So this again is for pretty much only brick and mortar stores. Now, let's say for example, you guys are a e-commerce website, right? With no physical presence. You can just go ahead and say, you know what? I just want to go ahead and just target United States, and leave it at that. Or if you want to target specific areas, you can say, I only want to target Nevada, all right? And here we have Nevada, which is the entire state. So you can get as dynamic and customizable as you want when selecting locations. Now here we have advanced search. And again, this is more for brick and mortar, and you can pretty much target specific areas right here. Like for example, we have a 20-mile radius of Las Vegas, right? You can do this. I have mixed results here because again, the ad can display on areas that you may not want. And the only thing that I've seen actually people use this for is events, right? So if you're having some sort of large event, you might want to target a whole area around like a specific area because, you want to target people 20 miles from Las Vegas. Maybe you have like a scary haunted house or something and you want, customers, something like that. So that's an example of the advanced search. And here we have location options. So you guys can target people that have regularly shown interest in your targeted locations, people that live in your specific area, or people who are searching for your targeted areas. It's really hard for me to say which one works. The only thing where I've seen this actually has some sort of issues, people having Airbnbs, right? So people who are looking for Airbnbs in specific areas don't necessarily live there, but they're looking for it, right? So you might want to pick something here that, applies to you, but I would just leave these both as recommended. Next, we have languages. So here you can go ahead and select languages on what users speak. For example, if you're targeting someone who speaks Chinese or Czech or Arabic, you would go ahead and select the language of users you want to target. So for example, if you want to target Arabic speakers and English speakers in the United States, you would select Arabic and English. If you just want to target English speakers, you'll click on that. And now we're only targeting English speakers in the United States. Next, we'll go ahead and scroll down here. Here we have inventory type. This is basically saying what kind of channel do you want your ads to display on. So we have limited, which is moderate profanity, medium level profanity, and then we have excessive profanity and maybe very provocative channels. You can go ahead and leave it at standard. Personally, I think standard is pretty decent and I've had good results with it. Limited inventory, this limits your ads, and expanded, I would not recommend that because that means your ads might display on very provocative channels or people who do crazy stuff like swear or do pranks or something like that. So make sure you select standard inventory. Go ahead and click on close. And then next we have types. So next we have excluded types and labels. This is pretty much saying where do you not want to show your ad and which audiences do you want to exclude. Now me personally, I have never used this option and I've had good results. I've never really had the need to exclude specific audiences because I really don't want to do that, but you guys can exclude it from like embedded YouTube videos or live streaming videos. But me personally, I'll just leave this as content not yet labeled because I want to advertise to pretty much all audiences. So I'll go ahead and close this. And next we have related videos. Now related videos is a great way on how to showcase other videos that you have, and it doesn't cost you anything whatsoever. Let me give you guys an example. If you guys click on learn more right here, and you look at this mobile device, I'll go ahead and zoom in. You can see the primary video ad. And then below that, you can see related videos. Now this is actually good to add if you want to pretty much showcase other videos to give the person an idea of what your channel is about. So let's go ahead and add some related videos. I'll go ahead and click on related videos. And I will type in my name, darylwilson.com. Personally, the only issue I've had with related videos is trademark issues where maybe I have something in the thumbnail that, I can't show, or some company copyrighted or something. I do get that error quite a bit. It is kind of annoying, and that's probably the only thing that's annoying with related videos. But overall, it's actually helpful because you can get an example right here. It's pretty much showing users my other videos, and they actually might click on those other videos instead of the one I'm even advertising. I'll go ahead and click on Divi. And again, here is an example of what this looks like. And then on the right side, we can see the actual ads. So these ads will fluctuate and rotate just depending on, the device or whatever. But this is an example of related videos. Now this only displays on mobile devices. If you guys go to desktop, it does not display. But these are always good to add because people might click on them. Let's go ahead and click on done. All right, let's go ahead and scroll down here. So this is the product feed, and this is for Google Merchant only. This doesn't apply to us, so we're not going to use that. Here we have additional settings. This is actually pretty important. Here we have devices. Now first, I'll click on set specific targeting for devices. Let's say, for example, you guys are creating tutorials, right? Most users will probably watch tutorials on computers, tablets, or TV screens. However, the most interaction comes from mobile phones. I find that if you add mobile phones, a majority of ads will get clicked on, and there is still good engagement with mobile phones. I actually first started running campaigns with just computers when I first started, and the problem is that I just wasn't getting enough clicks. As soon as I added in mobile phones and tablets and TV screens, I got a lot more clicks, and the cost per view is actually cheaper for mobile devices. So it's still a good option to add in mobile phones and all these other options. But I'll go ahead and check this as show on all eligible devices. And now we have the next option, which is frequency capping. Let's go ahead and open that. Now, frequency capping is pretty important, and there is some confusion about frequency capping that I'll explain. So I'll go ahead and click on cap impression frequency. Now, what this means is how many times can this campaign be shown to the same exact person? This is basically saying, I want to show the ad to this specific person how many times a day? Well, maybe 5 times a day. The reason why I put 5 is because most users probably will never click the ad on the first time. However, after the second time, they might click. After the third time, they're going to say, okay, maybe. The fourth or fifth time, that's pretty much enough, right? If they haven't clicked on the ad by the 5th time, then that user is probably not interested in our content. So me personally, I would leave the impression cap to 5. And what this does is once the user has not clicked on the ad, at least after 5 impressions, it then shows the ad to someone else who might be interested in your ad. All right, so that is what cap impression frequency is. Next, we have cap view frequency. I'll go ahead and check this box. So cap view frequency is basically saying how many times can a person click on this ad per day. Now, there are some crazy people out there who like to click on ads just to get people upset, but that is just part of advertising. But I would set the view caps to 3 a day. The main reason why is because if they watch the video on the first time and they clicked on the ad, maybe they're busy, right? Maybe they're doing something and they go away and maybe want to re-advertise to that person. By the second and third time, if they clicked on the ad, they're pretty much interested, right? But anything past number 3, I think they're just trolls at that point and they're just clicking on our ads for no reason. So I personally would leave the cap view frequency set to 3. All right, let's go ahead now and close that. Next, we have ad schedule. This is where you can pretty much create a schedule for your ad. Now, I don't know why, but most people tend to watch YouTube in the morning. We can see that 6 a.m., most people in Pacific time in USA are on YouTube. From 9 o'clock, they're also watching YouTube. And as the day goes, it gets a little bit lower. It then increases slightly by 9 p.m. and then it kind of goes down and then it goes up. So if you guys do want to run ads, it says here the best times to post are in the morning. However, I post my ads pretty much all day. I don't want to exclude anybody, but from my analytics, it's showing that the best times to run ad is probably in the morning till like 12 o'clock or something like that. But I'll go ahead and go back to my video campaign. I always leave this set to all day just because everyone's using different schedules. Some people work graveyard shifts. So I really don't want to exclude anybody. But if you guys do want to create a schedule for your ad campaigns, you guys can do that here. For example, we'll say, you know what? I want to run all my ads from around, we'll do 5 a.m., 1 p.m. All right. Because my analytics basically say that most people tend to watch YouTube in the morning and then around 12 o'clock, the traffic dies down. Now you guys can also go ahead and schedule this for like Monday through Fridays, which is like the work. So if you guys do want to set an ad schedule, this is something ideal, but me personally, I run my ads 24 hours a day, every single day. So next we have create your ad group. Now this is pretty much saying who is going to watch your ad. The first section right here, we set the dynamics of the ad. We set like, the ad itself, the languages, the locations, but now we're basically saying who is going to watch this ad. So let's do that. For the ad group name, I'm going to also put the e-commerce. Next, we have people. So who do you want to reach, right? Here we have demographics, where you guys can select the gender, the age, the parental status, and also the household income. Now, depending on what country you're in, you guys will have restricted access. For example, if you're in Europe, you cannot select the household income. I know that because I try to target people in Europe and it restricts me from household income. So you guys will go ahead and select a demographic that works best for you. For my specific YouTube channel, the people that watch my channel the most are ages from 18 to 35. You guys can get this in your Google Analytics. Let me give you guys an example. So here's my YouTube Analytics. And over here, I clicked on Analytics and then I clicked on Audience. I'll go ahead and scroll down here and this will give us a better idea of who our audience is. So here we can see our top geographies, right? We can also see the age and gender. So around 80% of the people who watch my channel are male, 20% are female, and the ages range from 13 all the way to 44, but I would probably say 18 to 44 is probably my ideal age range. So 18 to 44. So back on my demographics, I'm gonna uncheck this unknown because I don't want to target to anybody unknown. I want to target people that I know who are interested in my ad. And we're gonna go ahead and select 18 to 44. And that's pretty much it. I don't like checking unknowns because I don't know who they are. They could be people who are 9 years old or they could be 80 years old. I don't know, so I don't want to target people who are unknown. So I'm gonna go ahead and check that. Next, we have audience segments. So next we have audience segments, and this is pretty much saying who should see your ad. On the left side, you're gonna see that we have several audiences, right? We have web design and development, web hosting, web services, domain registration. And if you hover over the actual audience, it explains the weekly impressions, and it also shows you the actual audience and what they're looking for. So here we see web services, domain registration, and also email marketing services. So they pretty much go, they all go hand in hand there. But here you can go ahead and get an idea of audiences to select. But I do have a better recommendation for all of you. Let's go ahead and click on Browse. Now here we have a few options, and I actually do like this method a little bit more. Here we have detailed demographics, which shows the actual person's demographics. Next we have affinity. These are people who are interested in what you have to offer, but they're not necessarily looking for it. So a good example would be like my subscribers, right? They're interested in WordPress, they're interested in e-commerce websites, but they're probably not actively looking for it as of right now. Affinity audiences are good to add just in case, but yeah, they're always a good option to add because sometimes they might click on your ad. The next one, and the best one in my opinion, is in market. In market are people who are actively searching or looking for what you have to offer. So in my opinion, in market is the best one to select. Let's go ahead and select in markets. And now we're going to select a category for in market segments. I'll go ahead and scroll down here. And obviously you guys can pick and find your specific niche, right? So if you're in food or in home and garden, you can go ahead and select that. And then it creates a subcategory. So for example, I'll go to business services. And now we have a subcategory. And this is pretty much saying, you know, office supplies, business technology, and all these other subcategories. But I want to go ahead and select business technology. And here we have web services. And this again relates to web hosting, web design and development, and domain registration. So I'm going to select web services. On the right side, you can see that we have 28 million impressions. So I want to go ahead and target people who are actively looking for my service, not necessarily people who are like subscribers or interested in it already, because I really can't make money off those people, right? So I'm going to go ahead and select the in-market segment as web services. These other ones right here, like life events, the life events, to be honest, have never worked for me. It's at the bottom right here, and you can, you know, check out web events or life events. But these ones, I just don't get a lot of clicks, and I just never really had any success with life events. And that's my personal experience. But if you guys do want to give it a try, go for it. All right, so let's go ahead now and go back here. And the rest is pretty much, you know, combined audiences, stuff like that. But the most important one is in market. So now that I have my audience, I'm going to go ahead and close this tab. And now we're saying, okay, we know who wants to see the ad, but where do you want to show your ad? And there's a lot of different ways on how to approach this. We have keywords. Keywords are basically saying, like, when a user types something in, you want the ad to show to that specific user. Now, the best way to get keyword ideas is by typing in a website. For example, I'll type in my website, darylwilson.com. And what this will do, this will create a list of keywords. So for example, people who type in website WordPress, website WP, WordPress, site WordPress, and all these other keywords right here that I could just go ahead and add in as many as I want, right? Now also we can go ahead and type in enter. And if you want your ad not to show up on specific keywords, you'll type in the dash and maybe type in dash free, right? So I don't want people to see free stuff, you know, because it looks like here they're saying that I have to remove that. So maybe, yeah, maybe that's it's too narrow. Me personally, I don't use keywords because keywords tend to not run as well. You can see on the right side that the impressions is very, very low, right? We are at 28 million, but since I entered in some keywords, the impressions dropped to 150K. So personally, me, I never really run keywords at all. I've never really had a reason to. So next we have topics, and me personally, I never really use topics. You guys can use topics to narrow down your audience. So for example, if you want your ads to show up on specific videos that relates to computers and finance or business and industrial, you guys can do that. But the main reason why I don't use topics is because I have already selected the audience that I want. I personally don't really even care where the ads show up as long as it's targeting the user that has some sort of interest with my ads. So again, I don't really use keywords, and for topics, I use them sometimes. Like for example, we'll click on business and industrial, computers and electronics, or any other topic that you want to select. However, the only thing is that sometimes it'll really limit your impressions. So it went from 28 million to around 2.8 million. But I do use topics sometimes, but if you guys are just getting started out for the very first time, I would not select topics because you want to see which audience is clicking your ad the most. All right, so that's my advice on topics. They're good to use sometimes, but they do limit your audience quite a bit. Let's go ahead and close that. And lastly, we have placements. I personally never use placements. The main reason why is because here you're basically saying, I want to show my ad on specific YouTube channels, YouTube videos, or video lineups. There's several reasons why I don't like to do this. One of the main reasons is because sometimes the actual channels don't monetize their videos, right? If they don't monetize their videos, then your ads won't show up. Another reason why is sometimes these channels don't get enough views. If they don't get enough views, then my ads don't run. If you guys do want to experiment with placements, you guys can go ahead. You know, you can go ahead and find like a popular channel like WP Beginner. I'll click on check. Maybe this one right here, WordPress tutorials, and all these other channels. As you guys can tell, you can see that the impressions dramatically falls. And it falls because sometimes these channels don't get enough views and it really limits your ads. So me personally, I don't like using placements because remember, we have already selected the audience. So as long as I selected the audience that has some sort of interest with my ads, again, I don't really care where it's placed. So let's go ahead and close this one. And next we have the actual ad creation. So let's go ahead and put in the video. So I'll go ahead and search my actual video. And my video is, let's see right here, Darrell Wilson e-commerce. And the video is right here. All right, I'll go ahead and select this video. And here we have two different options. We have the skippable in-stream. We also have the in-feed video ad. Now, the skippable in-stream ad, this pretty much showcases in front of other videos. So for example, before you guys watch a video on YouTube, it'll first show your specific ad. Here, click on preview ad on YouTube. And now it gives you guys a little example of what the ad would look like. So this is actually playing my specific ad, and you can see that people can skip it after 5 seconds. Many of you have probably seen these ads on YouTube, right? And YouTube has now introduced a new policy where they showcase 2 of these per video. My personal advice on these specific ads, I don't really think skippable in-stream ads are very effective. They are good for branding. So if you do want to get the word out about your company, you guys can use skippable in-stream ads. I personally do not use these ads because I find that they have very low engagement rates, and most people just skip them anyways, right? I mean, you guys skip skippable in-stream ads, right? Very few people actually engage with the actual video. That's my advice on skippable in-stream ads. They do have very low ROIs compared to in-feed video ads. Now, if you guys do want to use the actual skippable in-stream ad, you'll go ahead and click on the link for your video, and this right here will give you the link. You'll go ahead and cut it, and then we'll paste in the final URL. So this is basically saying, I want them to go here. Now the display URL, this pretty much shows a different URL from the actual final URL. It's just a cleaner way on how to present the URL. So this right here would be like, learn e-commerce now, right? So they're gonna see the actual link that says learn e-commerce now. Below that, we have a call to action. I personally do like the call to actions. It's just more buttons and more things that people can see. You can see there it pops up. It's always good to add a call to action because it just increases engagement. So right here, I'll put learn more. I like they got little call to actions for us. And then for the headline, you can see on the right side how it says learn e-commerce, and this will showcase. If you guys do leave it blank, it'll just showcase your channel name. It really depends on how you want to approach it, but I think that just leaving the actual headline blank and showing your channel does show your brand. So this actually does help get the name out of your channel. All right, so we'll go ahead and scroll down. So next we have companion banner. This will show up on the very right side over here on the ad. I think they have a computer option, right? Yeah, there we go. It'll show up right here. Now, if you guys want to showcase your personal channel brand, you guys can go ahead and just, leave it as auto generates. But if you guys want to upload something custom, you guys can go ahead and say, no, I want to upload an image here and I want to make it custom, but the dimensions must be 300 by 60. All right. But I'm gonna go ahead and leave this as auto generates. And then the ad right here will display my actual brand. We'll go ahead and scroll down, and then you'll give your personal ad a name. So main e-commerce, Divi e-commerce, Divi e-commerce. For this specific ad name, make sure this is something that you guys can identify. All right, so this is gonna be something that I know and I remember. So I'm going to select Divi e-commerce because now I know this is my Divi e-commerce tutorial. Later on, I can make other e-commerce tutorials like with Wix or with Shopify or other platforms. We'll go ahead and scroll down here. Here we have ad creation. I personally don't like using ad creation. This just creates more skippable in-stream ads, but I don't want to do that because I've already created one. You guys can make more if you want to click on create a video ad. Then you guys can create an additional ad to go with your original ad. But I'm not going to do that because I just want to run only one ad. I'm gonna go ahead and close this and discard it. And below that, we now have to enter the CPV bid. So Google is pretty much recommending that we start our bid at 7 cents. Now, in my personal advice, you guys can start the bid at anything, right? So start it at around 10 to 15 cents. And what Google will do is they will adjust your bid depending on how many clicks you're getting and also the competition in the market. You guys saw in the beginning of the video, most of my ads run at around 7 to 11 cents, and that is per view. So it does adjust, but if you guys set it higher, that doesn't mean you're gonna pay more because Google will fluctuate the price. So if you guys do wanna start it at something like 7 cents, here we go, 0.7 cents, you can do that. If your bid is too low, what will happen is your ad will not show up. So you might get very, very few impressions and your ad won't show. So you guys can start off very low if you guys want. you guys can slowly raise it to something like 7 cents. Now, let's say, for example, you guys run your ad at 10 cents. This doesn't mean you're going to pay 10 cents. Google will actually fluctuate the bid, and it can actually fluctuate higher or lower depending on what other advertisers are willing to pay for a cost per view. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and leave mine at 7 cents there. And once that's done, we'll go ahead now and click on Create Campaign. All right, so I'll go ahead now and click on Continue to Campaign. And voila, we are now running an skippable in-stream ad. Now, once you guys do create an ad, this will be in review, right? So it won't be live right away. So just give it like maybe a few hours. If it doesn't run after like maybe a day or two, you guys can go ahead and contact the help team and tell them, hey, something's not right, and they can help you run your ad. Now, one thing I do want to mention for the skippable in-stream ad, if you guys don't necessarily have a video you want to promote or a channel, but you want to promote a product, you guys can go ahead and put in the final URL right here. For example, this is my e-commerce website, kobecoffee.com, where we sell Indonesian coffee. It's really good, but it is a little expensive. So let's say, for example, you have a business that you want to promote. I'll go ahead and copy this. And for the final URL, I'll just go ahead and put in the product or service. So you guys, again, don't have to necessarily use videos. You can use the actual in-stream ads to promote a product or service. And then you'll go click on call to action. These are always helpful, so maybe buy now and best coffee, right? Now, obviously, I probably don't want to use this thumbnail, so maybe I want to change that. So you guys can use the auto-generate banner, or for custom product promotions like this one here, maybe you want to upload an image. So this companion banner will go ahead and show up right here next to your actual ad. So this is a way you guys can use the skippable in-stream ad to promote a product or a service. So that's an example of how to run a skippable in-stream ad. Skippable in-stream ads are good for branding, but they do have low ROIs. If I click on the ad, you guys are going to see this says pending under review. So like I said, after about a day, if your ad doesn't run, just contact Google and maybe they can help you. Sometimes they will reject the ad, and the most common rejection is trademark issues. So sometimes on your actual thumbnail, you might show a company's logo, or it might say a copyrighted word. If that does happen, they will just basically restrict the ad, and then you'll have to change it. That is a very common issue that I've had, and I have had to change several times. All right, so now that I've shown you guys how to create a in-stream ad, now let's talk about how to create a display ad. And we're gonna go ahead and do the same process. So I'll click on all campaigns and click on create a campaign and click on new campaign. So now that you guys have a good understanding, I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up, right? We'll click on create a campaign without a goals guidance, videos, and then also custom video campaign. This will be the e-commerce tutorial, right? E-commerce tutorial, but I'm gonna put display. So I want to know that this is a display ad when I look at it, right? For the bid strategy, we have CPV, campaign total, or daily campaign, $10. Here we have YouTube search results. I'm gonna uncheck this box. United States, English. I'm gonna go and leave all these checked. This is gonna be e-commerce, display, demographics, same thing here. See how fast I make these ads? It's like, wow, audience segments. I'm gonna go ahead and go to browse, and not affinity, but I wanna do in market. Now you guys can always run A/B split tests, right? Maybe you guys can create one campaign with affinity audiences, and you can create a second campaign with in markets. But in market are people who are more interested in the current ad that you're offering. So in markets, web services, there we go. Web services. All right, I'll close that one. And I just want to target web services. All right, so 200 million impressions. Sounds good. Let's go ahead and close that. And we'll go ahead and skip this section because we already talked about it. And now let's go ahead and create our second ad. So I'll go ahead and put in Daryl Wilson. And I'll find the same video. Daryl Wilson e-commerce. I think that's easier, right? There we go. All right, e-commerce. Where is it? There it is. Okay. And I'll click on the video. So now we're going to do in-feed video ad. All right. And here we have a few options, right? We first need to create a headline, a description, description 2, and then the ad name. And over here, we can get different previews, right? So we can see the desktop view, which it shows right here in the YouTube search results, which I really do like. And then we have the mobile phone, right? Now, one thing I do like also about the display ads is they also do display. Actually, go ahead and there we go. Under the watch next. So YouTube sometimes will autoplay your ad, and that will pretty much force the user to watch the ad if they don't do anything. And I really do like that feature because, hey, maybe they get autoplayed the video and they start watching your video and they buy something, which is also pretty good. Now, for my specific tutorial right here, I got to make this very direct. So how to make an e-commerce website. So for your headlines, just get to the point, right? Make it very direct because you are spending money for these ads and you don't want to confuse the users by saying, oh, make a website sometimes or make a website is fun. Just be very direct, how to make an e-commerce website, how to cook cake, how to do this, whatever you want to offer, right? And next we have the description 1. Now, my personal strategy here is I pretty much have a headline. I create a description that reinforces the headline, and then I make a description to reinforce tutorial, right? So step-by-step tutorial. Oops. Guys, I can't see my keyboard here, so I'm actually typing behind my microphone. So I'm not illiterate. It's just hard to see the actual keyboard. So here we go. How to make an e-commerce website. And if you do watch this e-commerce tutorial, we have a step-by-step tutorial. Now, what kind of tutorial is this? Well, this is a simple, fast, and easy. Now, I personally capitalize the first letter of every word. In web design, we just do this. I don't know why, guys. It's just something that we do. And it just looks a lot more authoritative when you have capital letters for every word. And again, here is an example of the actual ads. You can see that how to make an e-commerce website, step-by-step tutorial, simple, fast, and easy. So this here is an example of a successful ad. This ad right here has made me tons and tons of money. I know this looks very simple, but my channels have grown with headlines that work just like this. All right, so this is an example of an in-feed video ad. I'll go to the bottom right here, and this will be e-commerce display, Divi, right? Just so I know. And for the CPV, I'll go ahead and put something like 10 cents. You guys can tell that it's actually more expensive with the in-video ads. The main reason why is because in-video ads are a little bit more effective than skippable in-stream ads. Skippable in-stream ads cost us 7 cents by default. However, for this specific type of ad, it's costing us 12 cents, almost double, right? So obviously, just by looking at the price, we can get an idea that in-display ads are a lot more effective than in-stream ads. But I'll go ahead and just leave this at what they're recommending. And then I'll click on Create a Campaign. Next, I'll click on Continue to Campaign. And congratulations, guys. We have successfully made a display ad. So again, just give this about 1 day. Google will go ahead and take a look at the ad. Right now, it's pending under review. After a day, if it doesn't show up, just contact the supports and they should be able to help you guys out. All right, now there is one more ad that I do want to show you all, and this is basically a non-skippable ad. This is only doable if you guys have a video less than 5 seconds. So let me just show you guys how to add it. I'm not going to go through the process. I'm actually just going to edit this one that I already created. It looks like this one's already eligible. The one that I just ran, like it only took like 10 minutes to get approved. But I'll go ahead and click on the pencil and I'll click on edit. Then I'll click on edit ad. Now, once you guys edit an ad, it'll actually stop the ad from running and Google will have to reapprove the ad again. Now, let's say, for example, we ran a skippable in-stream ad, but the ad was less than 5 seconds. Then you guys will have an option to create a non-skippable ad. All right, so here's my YouTube videos and I'm on the back end right here. And here you guys can see I created this short video. Now this is an unlisted video, okay? So this is not available to the public. It's only available if people click on the link. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on this and I'll click on view on YouTube. Here's the actual ad. You guys ready?
This product is the #1 most purchased product in Thailand. You guys want proof?
Now, this is an unlisted video, right? So this video is not available to the public. It'll only show for this specific ad. So let's go ahead and take this link, and I want to advertise this 4-second video. And remember, this is non-skippable, so people must watch this ad. I'll go ahead and paste this here. Now you guys can see that bumper ad is still not available. The main reason why is because we need to change our budget type, right? Or not the budget type, it's the, budget right here. So, or the bid strategy. So instead of CPV, we're gonna select CPM, right? Because people cannot click on the ad, right? But for every 1,000 people that actually view the ad, we will then be charged. So it's a great way on how to create branding for your product or your YouTube channel. Maybe not your YouTube channel, maybe just like your product, guys. I wouldn't do that for YouTube, you know, because that might just get annoying. Like, oh, watch my videos, you know. It's like, I don't care about you, dude. You know, maybe coffee or something like that, right? So now we have the option for a bumper ad, and you guys can get a preview right here. So I'll click on preview ad on YouTube.
This product is the number
You guys can see I can't skip. See that?
You guys want proof?
All right, and it's done. So that's how you guys can create a non-skippable ad. You guys will go ahead and put the URL, put the display right here. This will be like best drink ever. Add a call to action. Here I'll put like buy now, and I'll just leave it at that, or best drink ever. All right, there you go. That's a really cool looking ad. So that's how you guys can create non-skippable ads. They are pretty effective for branding. So if you guys do want to check it out, try it. Me personally, I don't really use bumper ads. I really couldn't give you guys an honest answer if these are effective or not, because it's really hard to track branding campaigns, because the effect of branding campaigns might show up in a month. It might show up in a week. It might show up in 2 months. It's really hard to measure the success of branding campaigns, in my personal opinion. And for the bid, I really have no idea, guys. I have never used this, but we'll just start at 50 cents, right? And we'll let Google let us know if we need to raise our CPM or not. But I'll just go ahead and leave it at 50 cents and then click on create a campaign. And once you guys do that, you guys will successfully create a bumper campaign. Now let's talk about how to analyze the data. Now this is actually very important, because this will help you determine what is a good ad and what is a bad ad. Now here we have our current ads, right? And we have the budgets, the status, the impressions, and so on and so forth. Now you guys can actually add these segments in by clicking on this columns button right here. And what this will do is that it'll actually create more columns depending on what you want to view. So I'll click on columns and click on modify columns. Right here, I'll click on performance. This is basically saying I want to see how many clicks are in the campaign. I want to see how much this costs. I want to see impressions, engagements, and so on and so forth. Some of the more important metrics is engagement rates, click-through rate, not so much, but that's actually good to have just in case. We have the average cost, average CPV, and the video played too. Here also, view rate and views is actually a pretty good metric to add. So go ahead and select these current metrics and then click on apply. You guys can also save this. So like you can save it and take a look at later or whatever. Over here, let's go back to columns and click on modify columns. And this is a new one right here, recommended columns. Looks like we have all of them checked, but hey, let's go ahead and go back. And now let's talk about this. So the optimization score. Now the optimization score pretty much displays only for Google ads on Google. So this does not display for us. So we don't need to worry about optimization score, and you should probably get rid of it. I'm gonna go ahead and say, don't show this column. All right, so let's take a look. So the first thing is we have our budget, right? This is basically saying how much money you're spending on every campaign per day. The next is status. Now you guys are always gonna see this limited by budget once the ads run. Do not raise the budget if you guys don't need to. Google is going to constantly try to make you raise your budget because they want more money. But me personally, I'm very comfortable spending $10 a day, so I'm going to leave it at that. You don't have to raise the budget if you guys don't want to, and I recommend not to. The next is impressions. This is basically saying how many times has the person seen the ad, right? So the ad has been seen 45,000 times, 25,000 times, and so on and so forth. Now, if your ad gets 0 impressions, this usually means there's a problem with the ad and you should probably contact Google. You guys can contact Google by going to help. And I believe they do have live chats, and they also have a phone number that you guys can call if your ads are not running. I've had several ads not run for various reasons. Sometimes we can't even figure it out, but that's just my experience with when I get 0 impressions. The next is interactions. This is pretty much saying how many times have people interacted with the ad. Maybe they clicked on something, they clicked on a banner, they clicked on your YouTube channel or something. So it is some sort of interaction that they've had with the actual ad. The next is interaction rates. Interaction rates are very important. Now, if your interaction rate is less than 1.25%, and this is my personal expertise opinion, if it's less than 1.25%, your ad is not effective. You need to make it better. Here we can see that I have several ads, right? This one is 1.26, 1.56, 1.41, 1.48, 1.6, but this one is 0.87. This usually means that my ad is not performing well, right? You can see that it's getting a lot of impressions. So people are seeing the ad, but no one's clicking on it. And one problem is usually when you have an ad with high impressions and low clicks, sometimes Google will actually make you pay more. It really depends. Their algorithm is kind of haywire, but sometimes that does happen. But if your ad is getting a lower interaction rate of 1.25%, I would highly recommend to change the thumbnail or fix something or change the title, because anything lower than 1.25%, in my opinion, is not an effective ad. All right, and then over here we have the average cost, right? So we have the average cost per view, 7 cents, 7 cents, 5 cents, 11 cents, and 11 cents, right? And Google is pretty accurate. You know, they said something around like 7 to 11 cents, somewhere around there, right? And here we have video played to. Now the video played to feature actually works best for display ads, and it doesn't really work for in-stream ads. The main reason why is because sometimes with in-stream ads, YouTube tends to autoplay ads. I have ran 4-hour video ads, and it shows that people are watching 100% of my 4-hour video for the very first time. The only way that was actually possible is if obviously YouTube was auto-playing the video. So this metric doesn't really work well for in-stream ads, but it does work very well for display ads. So these are display ads, and we can see that people are watching the video up to 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. And here it shows how many people watched up to that amount of time for the video. So for the best web hosting, people are watching, 25% of the video, and 7% are watching that much. Now, I don't really have a good opinion on metrics for this because it really depends on the user's schedule. Sometimes they might click an ad and have to do something, but it, just gives you an idea of the ad and if people are actually watching it. So I always do add this just in case, just to see if people are watching it to the end. And we do have some that are watching it to the end. The next one is earn subscribers. This is a very important one. Now, my personal advice, in-stream ads, I don't get any subscribers. I really never do. It's the display ads, that's where I'm getting the subscribers. All these right here are display ads, and I don't really have any ones that are in-stream, but with in-stream, I don't really get a lot of subscribers. And that's my personal experience. I find that when people are looking for a specific video in the display and they find my video, they tend to subscribe, which makes sense. So these are earned subscribers. Here is earned likes, so people who have liked the actual video. Earned shares, I never get any earned shares. Very rarely I do. So if you get 0 earned shares, don't worry about it. That's very common. I mean, who's gonna share ads? Let's just be real here. Like, no one really shares ads, right? And here we have the engagement rates. And again, the engagement rates, you wanna be above 1.25%. I believe I put the, was it the 1.25? Oh, the interaction rate, engagement rate, same thing. And then here you have engagement, and this is pretty much people actually clicking on the ad only. The other one, the engagement rate, that's where they might click on your channel or they might click on something else. So this is specifically only the ad. CTR doesn't apply to us. And another very important one I forgot to mention was earned views. Earned views pretty much means people clicked on your ad and then went to another video. Now, if they go to another video after they clicked on your ad, it does not cost you anything whatsoever. So it's just free views for creating engaging content, right? So that's what pretty much earned views is. it's good just to have, just to see how many views you're getting without paying for anything. And that's pretty much it, right? So yeah, that is pretty much it. But that's how you guys can pretty much measure ads. So to take away a summary, make sure that your interaction rate is above 1.25%. And if you don't get any impressions, it's probably because there's something wrong with your ad. So make sure to ask Google if you guys do have any problems with your impressions. So now I want to talk about how we actually use YouTube ads to build up my other channels in other various language. So these are my other YouTube channels, and we offer my tutorials in other languages. And we have to hire professional voiceovers. We actually change the hosting, and we do edit the video to fit that specific audience. So for example, this is one of the newer ones, and actually the more successful one, which was French. So what we did was we created all of my long tutorials. We hired a voiceover artist, and we created all these videos in French. We changed the text, we changed the hosting, we completely dedicated these videos for the French audience. So I'm not French at all. I don't speak French, but even the text, everything is completely in French, and even the voiceover is a professional voiceover artist that speaks French. Now in these videos, we're selling web hosting, right? Web hosting is very lucrative. As you guys can tell, you guys can make anywhere between like $100 to $200 a commission if they buy web hosting. So what we've done right here is we actually created ads right here to build up the channel. So for example, here we have French WooCommerce and French Elementor. We spent around almost $9,000 promoting the French channel, right? So to get around 5,000 subscribers, it did take us, it took us quite a bit of money, right? We spent around $8,000 to $9,000, but we did gain a large amount of subscribers from that. And by doing so, we now can get commissions from this channel. And now this channel is growing automatically. We no longer need to spend any advertisement money for this French channel because we are getting subscribers now every day because we have at least some videos ranking now in the YouTube search. So here is the backend for my French channel, right? Here you can see that we have 5,000 subscribers. Now every month we are getting almost around 500 subscribers now, and we don't have to pay for that. At this point, it's all automatic because these videos are ranking. We're making around $300 a month from YouTube revenue, which is cool. And here is our content. So all of these videos right here, you can see that we are that they're all, live on the actual French channel. And this is the one that we promoted. So this one right here has 273,000 views, and this one actually ranked really high. Now on this video right here, we are offering web hosting, and this is where we're making a majority of our money from this channel. You guys want to see? Let's take a look. So this is Hostinger.com affiliate program, and we are offering web hosting on our other YouTube channels. And we have created dedicated links for every channel to see the performance of how those channels are performing. So are we getting clicks? Are we getting commissions? Well, we can go ahead and find out with using dedicated links for every channel. So the last 7 days, we have made $4,000. Last year, we got a payout of $139,000. Pretty good, pretty good. Over here, I'll go to performance reports, and I'll give you guys the inside scoop of how much money all these channels are making. All right, so we'll go ahead and take a look at last month and click on apply. So last month, we got a payout of $19,000. And here are the conversions. So you can see we got 3 signups, 5 signups, 1 signup, 6 signups. So you can see that people are signing up with hosting, and we are making, we're all making pretty good money. Now, this is a very large operation, right? We have a manager, we have a video editor, and we have several voiceover artists. So I know this looks like a lot of money, but all these channels to sustain them probably cost us around $10,000 a month with everything. So there is a lot of back-end stuff happening. It's not just me just getting all of the cash, right? But let's go ahead now and go to report options. And I want to click on offer URL and go to apply. Now we have created dedicated links, right? So here we go. We have, our analytics right here. And here we have the Spanish channel, right? So the Spanish channel is generating around $7,400 every single month. Our English channel, which we promoted just a little bit, it's getting around $6,800. Now this right here is French. So Hostinger.fr, which stands for France, it's making around $2,800. and these ones 1,200, 1,000, and then our Hindi channel is making around $200. We might retire the Hindi channel. It's just really not working out for us. We tried our best and it's just really not working out. So as you guys can tell, last month I made around, almost $3,000, right? But to start the channel, we had to spend around 9K, right? But the French channel has made, some pretty good money throughout the year. So let's go ahead and take a look at the entire year to give you a better example. So this is like 6 months or something like that, right? This year. All right. So the French channel, we have made $13,000. So obviously we have now gotten a return on the $9,000. And going forward, we're going to be making $2,000 to $3,000 every single month. So without YouTube ads, none of this was possible, right? So I know the ads itself might seem very intimidating at first, but you have to think in the long run, right? So in the long run, your channel is going to grow and get bigger. You're going to start getting brand deals. Your revenue will go up, and there's so much that comes in when your channel gets a lot larger. So starting your channel with YouTube ads is definitely something to consider. Now, lastly, if you guys do need help creating video ads, there are some websites you guys can choose that will actually help you guys create ads for YouTube. Me personally, I like to make my own ads. I don't like to use a lot of these generic templates. I just find a lot of them don't perform well, to be quite honest, but some do, some actually do. You'll just go over here, just type in like, video ads or something like that on Fiverr.com. And these guys will go ahead and create some, they'll create ads for you, or they'll create videos for your specific ads, right? You guys can also go to invideo.io. This website right here actually has some templates, and it can promote some of your products. It is a little generic, I'll be very honest, but it's a good start. If you guys do want to see a video that I have already purchased, let's go ahead and watch it together. So I purchased a video from Fiverr, and I says, hey, I need you guys to make a video for me for a dog product, right? And these guys attempted to do that. Let's take a look. Here, I'll go ahead and open this video. And here we go, let's play it. All right. So this could be your ad, right? I got this from Fiverr. So I pretty much told them that I wanted an ad about like a dog product. I showed them the product, and they actually found stock images and they put it together. So it's pretty cool, it's not bad, right? You guys can tell it is a little generic, but it still works, right? So this is an example of an ad that I purchased from Fiverr. You guys can also use Canva.com. Canva.com will give you guys videos that you guys can use and import them as your YouTube ad. So for example, I typed in video ad here, and we can just grab something in here, right? These are all, looks like these are all pro, except for this one, Women's Day. And you guys can get a little idea of how this works. So I'll click on play right here. All right, and this could be your YouTube ad. All right, so woman sale, and then if they click on it, it'll take them to the URL that you put. Remember that for the final URL, you can always put your website. You don't necessarily have to put the YouTube channel. Now, let's say for example, we want to change this to like new product or something. New products. 50% off, put your websites, and then you'll click on a download, and then you can download this and you can upload this to YouTube. And then you can use this to pretty much promote anything that you want with your YouTube ads. So party people, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys do have any questions for me, feel free to let me know in the comments below. YouTube ads are pretty self-explanatory, right? Don't overthink it. YouTube ads are really simple to use. Just mess around with stuff, try stuff, experiments, and see what happens. My name is Daryl Wilson, and I will see all of you party people in the next video, guys. Take care.